I was 15 years old, and it was in summer, and it was like a really humid night, I remember. And yeah, and Francine took my virginity, and she was like 3 years older than I was, and somehow she'd like picked me from all other sort of pimply faced guys, and she professed undying like it was at this party, and she sort of came in my direction, and she had a bottle of Bacardi in her hand, and and she tapped me on the shoulder, and she said, "Have some," and she said, um, "I'm Francine," and she said, "Who are you?" And I told my name, and she said, "You're cute," and I blushed, and then I looked down because I felt really ill at ease because the compliment, well, I couldn't repay it because she wasn't attractive, but she smiled a lot, and that was really, really nice. But unfortunately, she had these crooked teeth, and anyway, so she said, "Let's go outside," and like a little doggy or like a pet or something, I sort of just followed, and outside. Like she took me to this secluded corner in the backyard, and everything else was like all chaotic and broken, and guys retching and stuff. But there was this corner that was really quiet, and she took me there, and she said, "Tell me some dirty words," and I sort of said five to her, and then I began laughing, and she stopped me laughing by putting her tongue in my mouth, and so then we kissed and like I fondled her breasts and all over. Really, she let me touch lots of things, and I groaned and I breathed heavily, like for about an hour, I think. And then she said, "I like you a lot." And I said, "I like you," because I was really excited. I was incited, by, I think, the passion of the moment. And we continued, we kept going until she pushed me away, and she adjusted her blouse, and she sort of began to leave. And then she called out just before she left. She said, "I'm going to the beach tomorrow. I'll be there by the steps." And I sort of sat there for a while after she'd gone. And I was all hot and I was all red-faced. And then I went and I joined my mates who were in the kitchen drinking still. Anyway, the next day, like I was lying on the beach on my towel, and I had my eyes closed, and I heard this voice, and this voice said, "You look like a bug." And there she was. She was like towering over me, and I straightened up from my bug-like posture because I was embarrassed to be called a bug, really. And sort of for a minute, like there, we lay side by side, and it was in silence. No one was saying anything. And I thought about the last night, and I was embarrassed. And then she said, "I've got a hangover," and she removed like her bikini top, and these really huge breasts. They were revealed, and she said to me, "How do you feel?" And I was just staring. And then she said, "I'm an actress." And then she recited Lady Macbeth's, like that soliloquy, that out-damned spot soliloquy. And I was really impressed, actually. And people were looking, and I thought, wow, she's really loud, she was. And then I told her I was waiting for my HSC marks because I'd skipped a class. And I was waiting for them. So, and because I was going to go to uni. And I was my aspirations, like they weren't as glamorous as hers, and sort of I knew that. Anyways, we were sweating sort of under that sun, and we were just thinking our own things, I think. And then she asked me like if I meant what I said the last night, and I said, "I suppose so," and I couldn't remember what I'd said. And then she said, "I'm going for a swim," and she sort of smiled again at me, and she showed me her teeth again. They reminded me that they weren't very good. But anyway, she ran to the sea, and I thought, well, I sort of just ran after her. And it was a really good afternoon, and we like joked and we frolicked, and we had like deep and meaningful discussions that adolescence, that's what I needed, I suppose, then. And even sometimes now I need them. But anyway, then I did. And like Francine, like she was even plain in that day. Like she had this face with really large features, and there was no flattering makeup. But I sort of wasn't confused anymore, and it was great. And anyway, she told me she was busy auditioning, rehearsing, or doing something theatrical, and she scrawled her address on some scrap of paper and gave it to me, and invited me like for the Tuesday evening, and I said yeah. And when I got to her house, it was really large, like it was a mansion. And it had like manicured lawns, and maybe there was even like a full-time gardener, I suppose, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I didn't know she'd be rich. I thought she'd be just bohemian or something. But anyway. She opened the door and she said, Dora and Herman are out. And I said, who? And she said, my parents. And I said, ah. And she said, they're at something social, like helping some blind or deaf or mute charity. She told me they'd be gone till late. And then she wanted me to, she said if I wanted to have a drink. And I said, yeah. And she sort of made 2 gin and tonics. And we sat on this red couch and we sipped the drinks. I think I was trying to act really sophisticated. I don't know if I managed to, but I remember trying. And she kissed me and we necked for a really long time. And then she asked me this question. She said, Simon, are you a virgin? And I said, of course not. And I lied. I was lying, of course. And then she grinned. And then 10 minutes later, like we were on that red couch, and she took my virginity. And the way she did it, for me, it was, it was like it probably is for most people. Like it was anticipated and it was awkward and I was embarrassed and I was excited and I was all sorts of things. And then afterwards, I was a bit ashamed or something. Anyway, she lit her cigarette and she smoked it really sort of extravagantly or something. And then I couldn't think of anything to say. And then she asked me if Cat had got my tongue. And I just wanted to go. So I said, I should go now because your parents will be back. And then so she saw me to the door and we kissed goodbye. Yeah. And I left. And the next time I came across her, that was at another Saturday night party. And she was coupled. I went to this room and she was coupled with some other guy in one of the bedrooms. And I sort of just came across him by mistake. And, years have passed since I last saw Francine, but if we'd meet again, I think I'd ask for my virginity back.